Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to counter some arguments against God. And I presented these arguments myself. Nobody was able to counter them. There's only one guy that can counter the wrestling Jesus. And that is the wrestling Jesus. And these are some tough arguments that people usually ignore. But I'm going to tackle these head on. Damn right. Alright, so God doesn't want us to masturbate. Now, realistically, when you masturbate, you kill a shitload of spermatozoas. You're basically killing a whole bunch of unborn babies. That is why he wants us to penetrate females so that, the spermatozoa won't be wasted. And who needs to fap when you can get a piece of ass? That's what God wants. He wants us to get laid, So who needs to fap? Working on the Sabbath. Now, Jesus Christ said that, is it lawful or unlawful to do good on the Sabbath? Meaning that doctors could work. Because Jesus wanted to heal somebody on the Sabbath, and he was told not to, but he healed the person anyway, saying that you should be allowed to do good on the Sabbath. So doctors, policemen, firemen, let's say your family is starving, you do good by feeding them on the Sabbath. According to Jesus Christ, this should be good. And he said that man was twisting God's laws around, basically looking for excuses to kill people, and Jesus was against that. So God is petty. Some stuff might seem petty to us, but God would have his reasons. If God is real, then he makes the decisions, and we would be petty by not following his rules. God is a bully because he picks on people like smaller people. Let's say that you have an ant walking on your counter trying to go in your food. What are you going to do? Whack! You kill it. Now, would that be bullying? Of course not. You have stuff fucking up your field, screwing up your corn. What do farmers do? That would not be bullying. It would be taking care of business. Now, let's say that you create an ant, and this ant is eating your plate, giving you the finger with all his legs there. What would you do? Hey, ingrate. Just like this, that's what people would do. Alright, so I don't see it as bullying when God puts people in their place. It would not be bullying, it would be taking care of business, because God doesn't fuck around. Would you want to have a weak God that can be pushed over and told what to do? No! If God is real, he would be powerful, and he would not take crap from little humans like us. It's the truth. That's how it would be. God is a mass murderer. For example, flooding the earth and killing people. Now, according to God, people were fucked up. They wanted to kill other people. They wanted to rape people. They wanted to do a lot of bad stuff. So God wiped them out and started new. That way people would be better, etc. So God murdered children. Now, the reason why God murdered the children of Egypt is because his children of Israel were being beaten and shit like this by the Egyptians. Apparently that's why God did it. So, it might sound evil, but, God's in charge. God knows what's going to happen. If he does something, there's a purpose to it. Possibly, the Jews wouldn't have been able to get out of Egypt. God did this because people were fucking with his children. If you were God and people were fucking with you and your children, you would probably fuck up the people. That's how it would be. Straight up. God always threatens people. I think this is more to keep people in line. Don't do this or else, bad shit's gonna happen to you. I think that's more, just like parents do. Oh, don't do this or else you're gonna get a spanking, etc. It's the same kind of shit. The Bible taught that the earth was flat. Actually, they said that it was a circle. Then human beings said that a circle would be flat. Perhaps they didn't have the proper word for sphere, but at least they got the circle part right. They didn't really say that it's flat like this. They said that it's a circle, which is pretty darn close to what it actually is. So people have to take this, twist it around. Oh, a circle is flat, so that means they think it's flat, blah, blah, blah. So that's like twisting shit around there. God believed in witches and wizards. Now, wizards could be like sorcerers, which would be like male witches, And nowadays, even nowadays, you have witches that cast spells, and they claim to be doing this on behalf of Satan. Now, Satan might not have been communicating back with these witches, but they were casting spells in his name. Even today, people talk with Ouija boards. They claim to be communicating with Satan. So yeah, if these people would be communicating with the devil that is God's enemy, then I don't see why God would not want to kick their ass or whatever. Plain and simple. Now, human beings took this witches thing to a whole new level and they killed a bunch of innocent people. But some people actually claim to be witches, and they claim that they communicate with the devil. They try to cast spells in his name. They claim that they have powers given to them by Satan. Now, if you would be God and people would claim to worship your enemy, you would probably kick their ass. It's as simple as that. Slavery. Now, slavery back then was not like the slavery in America. For example, you would get your freedom after 7 years. Now this, people were poor. They did not have soup kitchens back then. So it was either you die of starvation because you're poor, etc., or you can sell yourself for 7 years. It's basically like joining the army. Join the army, refuse an order, and you're probably going to get your ass kicked. You're going to pay the price for fucking around with your superiors in the army. So slaves would have to work for 7 years. They were paid to work for 7 years, therefore they had to follow the rules. Plus, they would get a roof over their head, food, clothing, all shit that they wouldn't have had if they didn't sell themselves to be slaves. Plus, some of them would be given wives by their master. These slaves were living better than I am, for fuck's sakes. So it was different, and they would get their freedom eventually. It's like serving the army. You get paid, you follow orders, you don't listen, you pay the price. Simple as that. Plus, these slaves would get some free sex by the master. Here, fuck this one here. You want to marry her? Fuck her, let's go. You know? So it wasn't that terrible. Human sacrifice. I gave an example of Jephthah, who asks God to help him win a war, and he would sacrifice whoever showed up at the door. He wins the war, his daughter shows up at the door, so he sacrifices her. However, God never gave him the go-ahead to do this. He just, it's some guy, Jephthah, talking. Then he apparently sacrificed his daughter, but God didn't say, okay, do it. Hey, sacrifice your daughter. Nothing like this. Animal abuse. God abuses animals, and so do we. We kill them for sport. We kill them to eat. Animals kill other animals to eat. And basically, we have to kill them to eat them. Tofu or whatever, protein powder, didn't exist back then. Plus, who wants to eat that? We want real animal food. That's what we want. We want to eat the ass of pigs, etc. So yeah, we do it too. So God being a control freak, it's like the law. The law has laws that we have to follow. It's not really control freaks, it's just the law. And God watches everything you do. He watches you in the toilet, etc. This is an exaggeration. God could just be there looking at the whole planet like this, Doesn't mean that he's peeking at you when you're peeing or whatever. If God would be God, he would give us privacy, when we go for a poo and stuff like this, He might know that you're doing stuff, but, he doesn't have to watch it, Plus, it's a big exaggeration that he looks at everything. He can just show up, look at you, then leave, then look at somebody else. It might be a guy looking through a telescope, like Google Earth or something. You can go to a village and kill people if they don't believe in God. Now imagine if you were God. Back then, there would be human beings claiming to be God. If you were God and people were trying to, take credit for everything, they would kill people, etc. You'd probably fuck them up. Oh yeah, you're God. Well, hey, that's how it would be. Plus, people do this all the time when they join the army. Armies go to other countries and kill people. They follow orders to kill people. And this would be the same thing. You would kill somebody on behalf of God. Not saying to do this, because the Bible also says, thou shalt not kill. So you have a choice to make. You can either kill somebody, or not kill somebody. That would be the choice that you would have to make. Okay? But yeah, that's what the army does all the time. And for example, in America, they are taught to worship the army. Not just accept it, but to worship it. So if you think that this is so bad, then you'd have to stop having soldiers, etc. You can marry a woman after you kill her family. This might sound terrible, but it's like a soldier who would go in another country. Soldiers kill a lot of people that they don't mean to kill, etc. If they are given an order to go somewhere and kill, that's what they do. So this is basically saying, you killed a bunch of people if you want, you can save the girl, basically, because she wouldn't have anything left. And it's not like if the person kills her family because he wants to or because he's evil. It would be because he would have been told to do that by his superiors. So he would take the girl, he would give her 2 months to mourn her family, then he could marry her. However, if the woman would not satisfy him, this could be if the woman doesn't want to have sex, if the woman doesn't satisfy the man's needs, etc., then the man would have to let her go. So it's not really, a guy goes in, kills, kidnaps, and rapes. It's, he did what he was told to do. Then he basically saves the girl out of pity. And then if she doesn't like him, he has to let her go. That's how it was. Religion brainwashes people. Some people grow up Catholic, they become atheists. Some people grow up atheists, they become Catholic. They can become Muslim, blah, 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 blah. So, yes, where you're born, it can affect your beliefs, but then people can change. So millions of people have changed religion, etc. So you're not necessarily stuck for life in their religion. People make out with their cousins, etc. in the Bible, and it's not God doing this, it's humans. So God says there's an ocean and the firmament after the stars. Now, past, the sun, all the way to the stars. Technically, we've never been there. It's true, we don't know what lies beyond that. So, for all we know, heaven could be farther than the stars. We've never been there, so we can't disprove it yet. Using 2 birds to heal people and stuff like this, weird ways of healing people. This could have been like the placebo effect. Like, even nowadays, doctors have fake medication, watered down medication, and it cures people. Because it's like a mental effect, a placebo effect, and it heals people. So perhaps this could have done some kind of placebo effect, especially if people really believed that it was going to help them. God claims to create diseases, but it comes from germs, etc. Where or why did the first germ appear? We have lots of germs, so that means that it had to start somewhere with 1 germ. Someone might say the germ appears in your poo or something, but why would it have appeared, the first germ in the first pile of doo-doo? Perhaps God put it there, huh? It says that if your kids are drunkards, that you can stone them to death. I think this would be more to scare people. You would have the choice to have this done or not. And if a parent would really love his kids, he would not have done this. He would have worked harder. Jesus would drink. Everybody was drinking back then, so it's obvious that God didn't want the kids to drink. So it's like, hey, you fuck around, if you drink, you'll be put to death. It sounds extreme, but it's like telling a kid, hey, Santa won't give you a present if you're naughty. Same type of shit, except it's way more hardcore. And that would keep a kid in line. Hey, you want to drink or you want to get your stoned to death? Okay, I won't drink. If we had rules like that, no kids would be doing any crime. Not saying we should do that. Just saying. I think this was more to scare people. God doesn't really want people to kill their kids, etc. Marrying your rapist. Now, this might sound bad, okay? But you have to look at it on the other side of the coin. Back then, people were more like animals. You can have a guy raping 5-6 women just like this in the same day. But then God shows up and says, hey, if you're going to marry someone, you're going to have to pay a big fine. And you're going to have to take responsibility for the person that you just raped. So I don't think this was meant, to encourage rape. It doesn't sound like it's meant to encourage rape. It's more like don't rape, or else you're going to have to, take care of that person financially, and you're going to have to pay a big fine. That's more like what it was, but due to the nature of it, people are easily able to make it sound bad. And back then, it wasn't the same shit there. People are more emo about different things nowadays there. And marriage was not the same. Back then, it's the father who decided who the girl would marry. That's how it was. And the girl would latch on to her husband because the guy would support her and stuff like this. That's how it was. So if the father decided, hey, let's get this done, then that's how it would happen. Nowadays, we see things differently, etc. But who are we to say what is better? Should we, go against God? If God would be real and he would say this is how marriage works, etc., then he would be right. Plus, you could have a divorce during the days of Moses, or if that wouldn't work out, then you can just get a divorce. The Bible says that men were in charge of women back then, and it was like this during the time of our grandparents. And our grandparents would own a house by the time they were 16 with a car. They'd have a career, and women would take care of a bunch of children, and they seemed to be doing okay. They were a lot more responsible than we are. They were more, hardworking than we are, and they appreciated stuff more than we do back then. Plus, back then, just cooking a meal for 6-7 kids, that would take all day to cook meals like this. So yeah, and it's not like if women were, so mistreated. Some of them had great lives. Some people would have been abused just like it happens today. But, my grandparents, both sets of grandparents, were very religious. They followed that type of lifestyle, and they had great lives. So yeah. Burning bushes, angels talking to people, stuff like this. This could be considered miracles. And a lot of miracles do happen. And science cannot prove them wrong. Some try and they can't. Science will also say, hey, this is not natural, so we're not going to investigate it. A lot of times it's because they know that they couldn't counter the miracle or whatever. Science usually comes in, this is fake, 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 without even trying. They come in already wishing for the miracle to be proven fake. But a lot of miracles cannot be proven to be fake. I personally believe that miracles can happen. If you hate a man, you are a murderer in the eyes of the Lord in your heart. For example, let's say like Jesus said that there's a time for hate. So for example, somebody walks into your house, he punches your wife in the face. Of course, you're going to hate the guy. You're going to want to beat the shit out of him at least, okay? But, for example, wrestling fans on here who hate me simply for my superior wrestling knowledge. And these people wish death upon me. That's what they tell me. I hope you die. I can't wait for you to die. Stuff like this. If that's not a murderer at heart, then I don't know what is. So I would agree with God right there. Hating somebody for dumb reasons and it's not only psychotic, but it's fucked up. Especially when you wish death on people, which would make you the exact same thing that God is describing, a murderer at heart. Cheating on your girlfriend in your heart, looking at a woman and having sexual fantasies, etc. That would be like cheating in your heart. In a way it would be. If you're dreaming, for example, you don't really control your dreams there. But let's say you purposely fantasize about your brother's wife or something. That would be like committing adultery in your mind. It's true. Fearing God. This is like fearing your parents when you're a child, when you do something wrong and your dad gives you shit, you fear him, therefore you listen to him, you obey him. The son and father will love each other, but sometimes the son will fear the father. That way it's going to keep him in line and stuff like this. So yeah, there you go, and those are some very tough ones, okay? I might have better explanations for some of these in the future. This is just like a rough draft, basically. But I don't need 6 months to prepare. I just give it to you right here off the top of my head. Now, a little warning for people who hate videos that aren't about wrestling. Every single Sunday, I will make at least one video that is related to religion. That is a warning, okay? I am still gonna make you 5-6 wrestling vids a week. However, every Sunday, unless something happens there, I will be making a video regarding religion. It might be, talking about, God like I did here. Might be, attacking evolution or atheists, shit like that there. So yeah, get ready, huh? So yeah, that's a bunch of arguments countered. Some of them are a bit rough there, but in time, everything will be countered. The whole fucking Bible will be countered. Alright, until next time.